All right, we are live again, and everything's the same except I switched stream latency to low latency. We only have 2 people in right now. All right, Hemphill's back. Adrian's back. We'll see if we can build up this viewership thing again. All right, I'm going to say happy. You type birthday, and we're going to test the latency. Happy. Oh, that is so bad. All right. Well, we're going to deal with it because I'm not going to make everybody switch streams again. But next time I stream, I'm going to do ultra low latency. This is why I use Zoom, because it's real time, literally. Like, I type a key and everybody sees the key type. For some reason, YouTube has to make this just so bad. I guess it has to go through lots of different things to get to your eyeballs. But base 64, what is the deal? Man. Bad boy. Bad boy. All right, everybody's back. Well, at least 11 people are back. Thanks for showing back up. Sorry, everybody else, for kicking you off. Spam is the worst. I agree. I completely agree. All right, and we back. And we back. All right. So we were talking about this line. We got thumbs up across the board. We were talking about this, and we also got thumbs up. So basically, here is the question. Is this confusing? If there's X component some places and X data other places? Or is it better? So here's it. Here it is. Option A. This is option A. This is option B. Let's see what people are saying. Oh, I have the wrong stream chat thing open. Let's close the old one. And live chat. Pop out chat. Okay. Okie dokie. I'm on patrol. All right. Like 5 to 10 seconds delay. Yeah. Twitch is pretty fast. Wonder if ultra low latency would make it. Yeah. Maybe, Hemp. Maybe. Adrian, the break was a good reason to subscribe and receive notifications. It's so funny because like this used to be my platform for recording like singing videos, and all those subscribers are going to be like, what in the world? What if X component, X data on the same component, does X data get merged with? Right. I know. Those are the questions, Ryan. Those are the questions that we need to ask. So here's option A. Option B is X data equals, okay, option A, this is the component syntax. This is the literal syntax. Okay. Option B, this is the component syntax. This is the literal syntax. Option C, this is the component syntax. This is the literal syntax. We just do away with X data completely, which would be pretty freaking wild, but honestly, it might be better looking. Hi, Caleb. I have a liveware table and an Alpine component inside of it with both key down and click away on false. When using pagination, it still opens a component. Is that a bug? Not sure, Virgo. Wish I could help you, but right now we're on another topic. So open a GitHub issue. What if X component, X data in the same component? Right. So the mixing would beg this question, Ryan. If we did X data, the mixing would be like, well, what if you do both? Like, does it merge? I know. So looking at this right now, here's A, here's B, and here's C. Which to you, and then I think the other use case is just initializing a component, because I often make components that have no data, and I don't want a corresponding thing. Like, can you just do this? X component and then something like X text equals bar, you know, which here it would be like this. And you know what I mean? So here's the poll, A, B, or C. Let me know. Yep, thanks, Virgo. This is the poll. What do we like for V3? A, B, or C? X component. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see if people are tracking AA. The latency is definitely a little bit better, so this is good. I'm not sitting here waiting forever. Not great, but still better. A, we have a C, we have a B. Mostly A's. Somebody likes C. Eric likes C. Paul likes B. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. This one is the least extra cognitive overhead for sure. Ryan, what did he vote? A, keep some backwards compatibility. Yeah, you're right, Ryan. You're right. A is what people are digging. Component needs so look also for X data and merges. And all right, let's say no merge. If you use X component and you use X data, Alpine will throw an error that says can't do that. Sorry. Minimize upgrade friction. Yep. I agree. It's A, as it stands right now. This is really good. Designed by committee. Always works. Just kidding, but it is working really well right now. C is more readable, I guess. Yep, no merge makes sense. Yeah, no merge. Okay. Whoops. And then within that, here. Okay. Cut that. Paste that. Add component constructor. And then this will be X component equals foo. X data equals foo bar. Illegal. Throw error. Okay. Ha, no plans to merge. Yep, no merge makes sense. No plans to merge. Yep, you should tweet the link to the new live so more folks can join. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right, my friend. Good call. Copy that. Pop open the tweeter. All right. Oh, man. Everything's so slow. Everything's so slow. Because we're streaming. Okay. Oh, this is actually really good while you're on here. Well, let me tweet this thing and then I'll show you this. Did you know you can listen for... Oh. Would everybody just stop talking so that I can go to my last tweet? Freak. Oh my gosh. Life is hard right now. Here we go. All right. So let's open up this thread and... New stream URL. Yep. Yeah, that kind of sucks. People aren't going to find that probably, which is whatever. We did lose like 15 people, but whatever. You know, that's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shut down in May. I hope you guys like my banter. Otherwise, you're just, well, you can leave if you don't. So this is something here. I think Laracast just tweeted about the new course on Laracasts. Here it is. Ready? Laracast, a brand new series from Caleb Porzio starts today. Ever wonder how a front-end framework like Alpine works under the hood? And let's actually see what's up there, because this is relevant. You're all Alpining with me. Retweet, like, and do that thing. So how many... It all starts with data, latest episode in this series. So I think there's only one episode right now. Yep. So definitely go check that out. Honestly, guys, so I built Alpine in like 5 less than 10-minute videos. Everybody should watch it. Lost the casuals? Yeah, that's right, Hemp. Everybody should watch it for real. It's kind of crazy because now that I've built like a super stripped down version of Alpine that actually works exactly like Alpine, I've been using it to tinker with different architectures because this is Literally, this is the whole, oh, that's the wrong zoom way. Huh. Now just give me 20 minutes while VS Code tries to zoom in and out. All right. So this is actually not the final thing because I've been refactoring it. I've been adding things, like I've been trying to add X4 and X show, but watch this. This is the Alpine we built in that Laracast video. That's it. That's freaking it. That's Alpine. There's there's one little hidden function there, but this is AlpineJS, and I just tested out a new core reactive implementation that could make it so much faster and lighter weight, which is pretty cool. So more to come on that, but that's been a little aside to tell you all to go watch that Laracast series, because you'll understand exactly how Alpine works under the hood if you're not like deep into it already. All right. Yeah, that could be interesting, Adrian, passing initial data like that. That's not bad syntax, to be honest. Could get very messy, though. Yeah. All right, so I think this is good for our little informal RFC at the moment to add this component constructor. Now, while we're designing by committee, let's continue on our journey of what goes inside of this thing. And the first thing that comes to my mind, see, if we did data, likely we would have to do what Vue does. I don't know off the top of my head, but likely we would have to have a data function that returns data. And so here's option A, which let's shorten this up a little bit. All right, this is A, this is B, and it's going to be a init, and then we should add some data in here like foo bar, okay? And then let's say that's what we're dealing with. Option A or option B? Everybody vote. A or B? I will wait patiently. But then after you vote, you're going to have to wait to see your own votes. So I better entertain you while you're voting. Man, we're in a time machine. Well, you can see my screen, so maybe I will... Oh, how could I entertain you? I could sing. I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing. All right, we got C. Not a good option. What's C, Adrian? A, very Vue-esque, but A. Yeah, it's pretty Vue-esque, but you know what? Yeah, because then it's like, then it's going to feel weird if we don't have methods, you know? Oh, man. Then we're recreating Vue, and then it's like, why is this a init and not mount or mounted, you know, and created? Like, we're losing it, you know? We're losing our grip on the simplicity of Alpine. Hard. A, but want B just to differ from Vue. I know, I feel the same way. B over A, says Adrian. Okay. Victor is A. This is tough, man. This is tough. Do we need data to be a function, though? I think you do. I would have to do a clone of the data, which I feel like would be a little wacky. You know, I could just clone the data myself, but this is the easiest for sure, just because of how, you know, objects are. I forget the word. It's not actually passed by reference, passed by something, whatever. But in JavaScript, it makes it a lot easier if you do this. If you're reusing a component. Do we need data to be a function? Yeah. Unfortunately. You know, maybe we don't. We could just clone the thing. Who knows? I don't know. All right, so the votes are in. I personally think B is the path to least resistance. I would either want to match Vue or be very distinct from Vue.js, you know? And I think this is so easy because a lot of people aren't even going to use init, you know? And this is just so damn easy. Open. You want to make that a function? There you go. You know? It's like, how easy is that? It's an easier syntax than every other front-end framework out there, hands down, for sure. But we're going to run into the problem of later on we might want to add some extra method like toops, you know? Like toops. And when we do that, it's going to be a breaking change because a lot of people already have toops methods. So then it begs that question again, is do we have underscore init, you know? It's a little wacky, but but it would save us. We could basically declare like don't do underscore underscore methods and reserve that for our namespace. In some ways, this looks so much nicer to me. All right, pass by value. No, it's not pass by value. It's pretty deep topic, but it behaves like pass by reference. It's just, maybe it is pass by value. I don't know. Do we need data to be a function though? Okay, so now the thing I want everybody to weigh in on is this. Yeah, I agree, underscore underscore. All right, this is the current proposal. It's going to be a little weird, but I kind of dig it. Call me crazy or call me maybe. But yeah, underscore underscore, we got some buy-in on it. Let's put it in the RFC. I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. And then this will be all right. Yep. A init is a function. Yeah, that's just kind of a note for me. Construct, because why not? Yeah, I just don't like that. I don't like it because it feels like it's something native to the language. You know what I'm saying? Where init, it's already an idiom in Alpine. What's init for? So, Adrian, init would get called when the component is initialized. So you might need to do some AJAX fetching or whatever in there. Just code you want to run right away would go inside init. Registering watchers, right? That's a, oh, yes. You would do that here. Yep. Watch foo value. Yep. Bar this dot bar equals value. Yep. Legit. Registering watchers like livewire mount. Yep, exactly. Okay, great. So I have lots of clarity on this. I feel like this is something, and pretty interestingly, we could actually add this in the current version completely. We could add this in the current version, which is so cool. We wouldn't need to wait for Vue 3 or Alpine 3. I like it. All right. So let's keep the brainstorming going. First, if you're happy with the direction of things, you know what? Here's what I want you to vote on. I want you to tell me code if you want to actually dig into code and like do a pull request, or keep going if we want to keep on this brainstorming train and think about things like props and stores and stuff like that. So say code or keep going. Yeah. And I'll entertain you in the meantime. Alpine component foo some data dot init. Oh yeah, that's pretty interesting, Adrian. Yeah, it's interesting. Code, both. All right. Well, code. All right. Good then. Then we did some good brainstorming. Let's call it a day on the brainstorming and actually write some freaking code. So first up, this automatically call init method updates the component. Unfortunately, thank you for posting this, but we're not going to use this. So there are plans on adding something like this in the future, but not at the moment. Thanks for contributing. Close and comment. 1 PR down. PR time, baby. Agreed, Ryan. Agreed. Let's just get to it. Also, you feel free to tell me things in the chat as we're going. If you feel like I need to change directions or whatever, like just you're a part of this. This is group pair programming. All right. Again, there's some deep ones. This next nested X4 is pretty deep. I'm wondering if there's a piece of low-hanging fruit, another piece of low-hanging fruit. Let's see what this is. Improve array unique values snippet. Unless you guys think we should go deep, but it could get pretty deep. Improved based on... So this is a note for everybody. When I like to see, no matter what, even if you're making a PR from a GitHub issue, I'd love a declaration of before and after. Like, show me the problem, show me the solution, tell me notes about your implementation. It makes my life so much easier. Because a lot of times, a PR is stemmed from an issue that was a little bit different. Like now I'm like, what do I have to read through all this? Are there any valuable reasons for this? You know what I'm saying? It's all mental overhead for me. It takes a lot of extra work. So if you're making a PR, please make it as explicit as you can. So this is what I do. Instead of, it's easier for me to read code than it is to read words most of the time. So I start with the files change and see like, what are they trying to do? All right. So he's changing array unique for some reason. And I don't know. See, this is the kind of thing that's just, and then there's a new test, but we don't test utils. This is a unit test. We have 0 unit tests. So I just don't like this. Yep, this is the kind of thing, I don't even want to waste your time trying to understand it. Let's go deep. I know someone said a few problems were tackled with the new reactivity core. Yeah, we did tackle a few problems with the new reactivity core, and I actually, let me just show you some code really quick. I changed something pretty drastic. Now, if you're in the IE11 build, I use the old reactivity core. I have this wrap for IE11 that uses the old thing because the new one isn't supported in IE. It's super dark and it's super grim, and it pains me so much that I have to support IE11 because I have to jump through so many hoops for IE11. Literally maintain 2 separate reactivity cores. Where if you're not IE11, I just use observable membrane, that package, and call it a day. It takes like 5 lines of code and we're just done, and it works for everybody. But it's broken in IE11, which is a huge bummer. All right, so Ryan is on the call right now, commenting, but it works. It does work. It does work now. All right, here's kind of the things that I want to go deep on. There's a couple options. There's this fix watch scope, which is a little bit gnarly. I imagine digging into this is going to be tough. And then there's fix nested for loops. This is by far the most commented, right? Yeah. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at nested for loops. All right. Please double check added loops, the extra vars. The extra vars variable. All right. Passing the blah, blah, blah. Here's the example. Great. So this is possible. Let's see what we're getting, Ryan. Yeah, for sure. So this is possible. This template X4 thing. But if you do this, directly nesting these template X4s where you don't have this intermediate div, I guess it doesn't work. So why don't we start by maybe reproducing this issue? Let's see if other people think the same thing. Yeah. Honestly, X4 is so tough. I know this is not a full view replacement, but in a project we're working on, one component used without nested X4, we cannot replace that part of Alpine. Okay. Yep. Let's see. Did someone else say, really hope this gets merged back, holding us from jumping into Alpine? And then let's see if there's a bunch of people on the GitHub issue that are agreeing. And then we'll recreate at least a broken version and work through this. All right, Ryan created this. This is in my humble opinion, but I hope if you think about Alpine like a view, you should correct some expectations. Alpine used to be small, DOM-oriented library without massive DOM. In Alpine way, you should get not an items array, but an HTML fragment with rendered items. Yeah, a lot of people are like, screw you, man. But honestly, he's right in a lot of ways. At least there's a voice in my head that says this exact same thing. I think people would expect to be able to write. Yeah, I mean, that works, right? Yeah. All right, well, let's tinker and figure out if this is something we should. I'm interested in this issue. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are really interested in this. All right, people really want nested loops and they want updates on it. Let's give the people what they want. Let's start by breaking Alpine with a nested loop. Okay. So let's do this thing. Here's our div, x data. Okay. And now inside of it, we're going to have a template tag. I told you it's the one thing like my emit doesn't work with. x4, let's say foo in foos. So we can have foo in bar instead of like items and results or something, right? Foo in foos. And first we're going to do something that should work. And then we'll have a div with and let's say foo.bars. So it'll be nested like that. Okay. And then inside here, we're going to say span tag with x text is equal to, this is bar in foo.bars. X text is equal to bar. And then, yeah. So let's do this. Now let's construct our data. And we're going to have foos first, which is an array, with objects. And there's going to be bars is an array of Bob and Lob. Okay. And then we're going to copy this and add another that is law and blog. Okay. Here's our nested loop. Let's see what happens if we refresh the page. Nothing's happening at the moment. Let's take a look at the dev tools and see if we get a console error. Reference error, foo is not defined. Foo in foos should be defined. Odd. Okay. Well, maybe that's the first problem. Am I missing something? We have foos, we have foo, we should have foo.bars. That should work, right? And I imagine somebody posted. So now we can take the PR that I think, I'm just going to call you Simotod, I'm sorry, because it says Simotod, unless you post and tell me how to pronounce your full name. Now we can look at his PR and we can see if there's solutions inside of it. Get the depth level for the current iteration. Yeah, so one of the weird things about this is that right away, let's say we did this. We could do span x text. Let's get rid of this for now. X text equals foo dot bars, and then get the first one. So it should say Bob, and then it should say law. And it does, Bob and law. So this works as expected, but I guess the nested for does not honor the scope of the parent for some reason. And I think this is one of the things that this issue is addressing. I know the other thing this issue is addressing is being able to use templates within templates directly, which would be, pretty good. I mean, it's kind of a necessary thing. Let's see, what do we got? Still convincing my coworkers to move on and replace jQuery with Alpine. Thanks, fight the good fight. I will say that adding X4, I'm not saying we shouldn't have, but it increased the complexity of Alpine and restricted its abilities to do creative things by like 1,000,000%. It's a deep one, but I think it's good. I know people use it. I added it because I needed it, honestly. So, all right. So carrying on, maybe our first mission here is to just get us to be able to do this, and maybe what we do is pull in Simotod's PR and work from there. But the problem with doing that is, look at how big this PR is. It's probably a lot of this is because it hasn't been merged with master. But this is the kind of thing that's like a lot of mental overhead for me to wrap my head around. But let's do it. I think this will be better because we can actually update this PR ourselves, bring it up to date with master if he didn't already, which he is pretty on top of things. So let's do this. We're going to take it, pull request 183. So here's how I do things like this. This is going to get wiped out. So I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. We're going to say nah and hub PR checkout 183. Okay. We hub PR'd checkout. Now we're inside of his thing. We're going to merge master. And it's probably going to give us a conflict. No conflict. Great. So let's push back up. And the really nice thing here, if you're watching, I talked about this on my Livewire call. If he had done this on his own master branch of his forks, so simultadd master, I wouldn't be able to just git push. So it's very, very nice when people don't use master. That's really, really helpful to me. What's our comment? Ryan, what ZHA theme is that? I don't even know. It's been so long. I've been slowly dripping bits of Alpine in and removing jQuery. Cool, Ryan. Okay. So let's see what the diff looks like now. Hopefully it's not as overwhelming. We don't have to look at the builds. So we're going to hide the builds completely. Now this is my first little scan for just how big is this thing. Okay, it's not that big. I think I might have blown this out of proportion. It's not that big. And the test is right here. Okay. So let's actually run a build. Let's do npm run watch. Okay. We're going to have npm run watch, and it's going to be chilling over here so that we can actually start, coding and seeing results. Not equals git reset. Yeah. Let's see. It's git reset -- hard and git clean df. I got it from Jeffrey Way a while ago. Yes. Nuke is my alias. Yeah. Gotta have a nah. Gotta nah. Okay. So we have the bundle building. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually run his test and see if it works. He's got template and template. So I'm going to run the for test. Let's say just for. Whoops. Just for. And we're going to run the for test. And if we get all green, that'll give us some confidence. And then we can see if it, maybe it just fixed everything. And maybe this whole thing's going to be a lot easier. Okay. It totally works. Okay. Great. Now let's, yeah. So do we want to overwrite? Yeah, let's overwrite. Okay. Now, if we refresh, we have Bob Lob Law Blog. Bob Lob. Let's think about what should show up here. Yeah, Bob Lob Law Blog, right? Yeah. So, and then if we do this and we refresh, does it work? It totally works. Yeah. All right. Hey, Franklin, not in too late. Welcome aboard. So that's pretty good. It totally works. Now I can't just pull this in unless I fully understand it. Unfortunately, that's just the way things go. So I'm going to go through and figure it out. So there's all directives start, most directives. Some are not in separate files, but I have this folder called directives. And then here are the directives that basically require a dedicated file. The main file in Alpine's core is component.js. And there's a method called, update element or resolved bound attributes. That's it. And basically it loops through all the attributes on an element, and it does a case statement between all the attributes. So case model, case bind, case text. And if it's simple, I just do it in line, like l.innerText equals the output. Very simple. If it's more complex, like if, I defer to a separate function inside of a separate file and then have those directives in there. For cloak, right. So for is in handle for directive, which is this for file here. And this is the entirety of for. It's not crazy simple. It's actually the most complex directive by far, like I mentioned. David Peace, hat is still on backwards. Stop being hip. Never. You can't stop me. Too hip. Elliot just joined Livewire and Alpine, two of the most interesting projects in years. Thanks, Elliot. I appreciate that. They're definitely pretty unique. I don't have a lot of places to take notes from other people doing similar things, So here's the deal. Handle for directive. You pass in the component, you pass in the current element. The expression is what goes inside of it. So x4 equals, here's the expression right there. And then initial update is a Boolean, which we don't really have to worry about. It basically just means if it's the initial update, don't transition in. Like if you have X transition, which I don't even know if that matters, whatever. If you have X transition on something and it's the first render, you don't want to transition in. You know, we only want to transition in if it gets added during the runtime. And then extra variables, this is how you make extra variables like magics like data and watch available in the scope of the expression. So like this, you know, something in blah, blah, blah. You know, you could add something into the scope like that. Okay. My coworkers constantly rag on me for being so excited about Livewire and Alpine, but they just don't understand. Yeah, I get it. All right. So handle for directive. So I stole Vue's x4 parser. So x4 equals, you know, foo in foos. There's a lot to go into parsing this. So foo index is also possible, and full collection. This is all possible. And the reason, and there's even other syntax, but this is all this function below here. This was taken from Vue.js 2 core. Thanks, Vue. Yeah, so I ripped out their regexes so that this just is all from Vue. So once I do that parsing, once we parse that, we parse the expression, we get these words. So like single is equal to foo, bunch is equal to foos type deal, you know? And then this is the stuff that he added. Get the depth level for the current iteration. So required when used because elements from different loops end on the same DOM level and we need to differentiate apart. Oh my gosh. See, this is the mind-bending part to me. That I feel like is just going to be a snooze fest for people on here who aren't like deep into Alpine core, but we're going to see. So depth equals extra vars. I don't know why that has to be called. That's my first question. Why does it have to be called? Oh, to make sure that there's a var. So he adds depth into the variables to pass it forward. Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, it's just so... I don't know if I like the implementation. But we'll keep kind of carrying on. So it's like, get the depth level for the current iteration. If extra vars exists and depth exists, then set depth to depth plus 1. Or if depth doesn't exist, then reset it. All right, that makes sense. And let's see what other code he added. So that's depth. And then in else, there's evaluate return expression, L bunch extra vars. Evaluate return expression. Evaluate return expression. Where is that happening? Empty, effectively hiding it. Let's see. Empty. Yeah, this is pretty weird because this, oh, he added them. I'm looking at the thing that he added. So apparently this didn't have extra vars before. So I wonder if that is just a bug, an unrelated bug fix, you know? Like that was why even when we had the div with the template inside of it, the nested div, you know, why it wasn't recognizing because it didn't have extra vars, which I think makes sense. So that makes sense. You're just forwarding the extra vars. Post, I have a growing hate for Mac OS Windows shadows. Me too. Dude, I tried so freaking hard to get rid of these shadows. You have no idea. I installed some things. I really did. Especially how they compound and bleed over from different screens. That is the biggest problem. So I use a shortcut key that I always mess up, so it's actually probably not going to work. Oh, it worked. Okay. There's a shortcut key to remove every window but the current one that I do every time my anger mounts to the point where I do that just so I can see relatively clean edges. But yeah, that compound shadow thing is so bad. I hate it so much. Yeah, I've tried really, really hard to disable shadows on Mac, and it is a dark path, I tell you. Okay, so here he's saying skip nested X4 items. What does that mean? Skip nested X4 items. So this is in the loop. So items presumably is when you do like for in fors, or like, you know, foo in foos. Items becomes foos. So the value of that. whatever that is in your data. So items.forEach, then we're looping through them. And let's make sure that's what items is. Yep, that's what items is. We're looping through them, and we're saying current key. Get this iteration's key from the template tag. Okay, yeah, this is right. Because if you have, template x4, right? And then over here you bind key to something like index. This is where I evaluate that, because this has to be reevaluated on every iteration. So on this iteration, I evaluate that, and then we have current key, which we're going to use later. And then current L is the current element. We don't have to worry about that. We're not going to get into that. But basically, as we loop through the data, if you don't know how the template tag x4 works, I guess this is helpful to know. As we're looping through the data, we're adding. So if like the thing inside of here is a span, as we loop through, we add a span. We append it to the DOM next to template. So if you actually look inside of here, you'll see the template tag. Yeah, this is interesting. So this is how it works. Here's the initial template tag with the template tag nested. So the first template tag is going to loop through all these and add a template tag after it. It's going to append the template tag. Now it's going to loop through all these and add the tag and the tag. Then it's going to add, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but if you think about it, this is like using this, it's like flattening this nested tree. So you have like template with loop, element at the final end of the loop. So it's like loop through the template. This one also has a loop through its, nested elements, come back to the top, loop through the template, loop through its nested elements. Is this making any sense? Are people completely lost? This is why I kind of was hesitant to do this deep stuff. It's because, my mind's already kind of wrapped around it, but yours isn't. So I don't want to like bore people who already know and blow people's minds who don't know, especially how they compound and bleed over. Yeah. So maybe shout out in the chat if you're like frustrated at how obtuse this is, or if you're still following along. So he's saying skip nested x4 items. So now I have to figure out, what does this do? Current element. So presumably we good. Well, I am. Ryan's good. Yep. He is also like a core contributor, so I would anticipate him being all right. Kevin, I don't know Kevin, and he's following. Makes sense. All right, great. People are following. Then I'm continuing on. Thanks for saying so. So items.forEach, and in this case, I guess we'll use this as our reference here. So here we have template. We're saying foo in foos, and items is foos, right? So then we're for eaching. The first one is this object with bars in it, and we've appended to the DOM this thing as the first one. So we appended that. That's the current element. So here we say skip nested x4 items. We say current L, and current L has an x4 key that's not undefined. Okay, that's set, and if the depth is not equal to the current depth. This is the part that confuses me. This depth thing is just confusing right now to me. x4 depth. So I kind of want to check in the console. x4 gives you, right, okay, the data. Yep. All right, so if the depth is not equal to the current depth, then the current element is the current element's next sibling. This is a bad comment. Not his fault. I'm not trying to trash his code, but it's confusing to me. Like, I don't fully understand this. So let's keep going and see if we can understand this better. I do stream working on Livewire. I did last Friday or something, so I'll be doing that. I just did it on Zoom instead of YouTube, but I think I'll be doing it on YouTube now. So we don't have giant penises showing up on the screen like we did on Zoom, which is a travesty. Okay, so I don't fully understand that. And I think we're getting there to the end of the implementation, but so there's skip nested, don't understand. let's check and see if the X4 has already generated an element last time it ran. Right, so this is where we look forward for different keys. All right, here's the quick explanation of this. When you're in the nested whatever, and you have a key, if X4 had a key here, like I said, when you're looping through, it adds elements after it. If for whatever reason you change the order, like if you change this with this, like if you replace them, you want to be able to reuse the elements. I want Alpine should be smart enough to move the elements around rather than deleting them all and rewriting them all if the order changes. So I have to do this loop here where I while. So I do a while loop and I go through and look forward to see other elements with this current key. And if I find them, I insert before them. You know, I like take them out of the DOM. So the comments are actually pretty good, I think. Let's check and see if the X4 has already generated an element last time it ran. If the keys don't match, yep, we'll look ahead and see if we can find it further down. So then while, if we found it in later in the DOM, we'll also check the depth. Check the depth is the same as in, so I think he added this because I don't have any knowledge of depth. Right. This is the depth thing. Move it to where it's supposed to be in the DOM and set it as the current element as if we just created it. Yep. Okay. So that makes sense why he added that. Okay. And looking at the chat, I think he goes to the next template. Yeah. Okay. Now X4 vars. He's adding a variable called depth. Yep, these are things that get added to the scope, which makes sense unless somebody was relying on depth, which nobody would do that. Money sign is reserved for Alpine. Okay, then we have a skipped nested X4 items. We're doing this again. This is a little confusing to me. Let's see where that is. So temporarily remove the key indicator to allow the normal update elements to work. I get why that is there, but I don't have to explain that. So X4 vars. This is the stuff that, if you think about it, inside the loop, when you're inside a normal, you know, it's probably helpful to see like a normal loop so that we don't have to wrap our heads completely around the craziness every time. So if you had like foo is Bob lob, like this, foos, you know, and then you had this, right? So in each, when we're looping through foos, each time we need to, this is new. We have to add this to the scope, you know, food doesn't exist here. So without somehow adding it to the scope to evaluate, it's not going to know how to evaluate. So I create this X4 vars, and single, if you remember, is from the parser and is set, you know, foo would be single. And I set that to the current iteration so that later on, and this gets attached to the element. So you'll see X4 is set to X4 vars. So if we actually look in the DOM, and let's grab, we'll take this element. So if you recall, remember how this template, how it actually works is it loops through and appends elements after itself. So if we grab one of these elements, we should be able to see X4, and it gives us the things that are added to the scope. Now to show you a little bit more, if we do X foo index in foos, now we refresh. Take a look at this, I believe. If we take one of these, now index is in the scope. These are all things because you could do this. You could do like index. So it has to be in the scope to be added. If that makes sense. Carrying on, looking at the chat. Okay. So he's adding depth. The problem with this addition to me is it's scattered throughout the entire function. That's why this is so hard. The abstraction is littered throughout everything. And it may be the way it has to be. But this is the reason I'm having such a hard time wrapping my head around it. So that's why I'm always interested, like, what would I do if I tried to do this myself? Like, would I find a way to isolate this to understand it better, you know? I don't know. But this is a fix. Like, it does get the job done. This is a big fork in the road that I come to a lot with maintaining something like Alpine. is there's a problem. Somebody offers a solution. It's a deep solution that it's hard for me to wrap my head around. And because I didn't build it, I don't feel like I own it, but everybody needs it fixed and I don't have the time to attempt it myself. So I pull it in, but then there's a bug with it. And now I can't fix the bug and I have to rely on the person who wrote it, or I have to reopen it and figure it all out and understand it from front to back. And then I realized that I didn't like the implementation in the first place. This is a common pattern, and that's why there's so many open pull requests on Alpine, because people, because some of the fixes are pretty deep. I'm thankful for the work that people put in, but like just the other day we had this, or the other week, there was this core problem with the debounce, if you were around for that, and I accepted the solution. I thought it was over my head, and then later on I realized the solution was just wrong. Like it worked as a solution, but there was a better, we were doing something wrong in the first place. And it took me a while to find that out myself. So it's a tough balance between, like, community contributions are fantastic, but if I didn't write them myself, there's a pretty big liability, because I'm the one who I'm responsible for maintaining it, and I'm responsible for making sure that everything works and not breaking everybody's apps, if that makes sense. Why do we need to know the depth level? That's a great question. I have no idea. That's like, what if I try to do this myself? What would I do? I don't know. Yeah, I'm too lost on this. And this is why, like, this is also the kind of thing where it's hard for me to work on this in public. Like, I would almost rather just be able to sit down and try to build this myself and see what happens, like, would I come to the same thing or would I find a different way? I don't know. But he does keep it solves all the problems, and he keeps, all the tests work great. So let's keep going and we'll make the decision on what to do. Xstep skips. So this is the skip nested X4 items. Else, there are no more X4 item elements, meaning the page is first loaded and there are extra items in the array. So I think here's what he's saying. I think what he's saying is this is it. All right, I'm getting some clarity here. If you have this element inside of template, what's going to happen when this renders is you're going to get this. It's going to render two spans with Bob and Lob, right? Directly after itself. If you have a nested template directly inside of a template, if you think about it, you're going to have, because you're never just going to append template. Well, I guess he actually does in this instance, but it's all going to be flat. So like template's going to get appended here, but then the thing inside template can't go inside of a template if you think about it. It has to go at the same level. It has to stay at the same level. So you have to know who belongs to who. If you start a depth tree, you have to know what depth this belongs to and add some checks in for it. So it makes sense to me. Does that make sense, Adrian, why there needs to be depth? Duplication of keys. Yeah, right. That would be another one. If there was no depth signifying, then there would be, the keys, we wouldn't be able to know which key belongs to which depth. So I think this is good. And I think this is what skip nested X4 items. So he just loops through it. He's like, hey, if we get to the current element that's not the proper depth, then just get to the next thing, which is a little bit obscure. I get the general idea, but it's still a little intimidating to me. Yeah, and then he does this again. This code's not amazing, I fully admit. And then here's the last one, I believe, of this. Let's see if it's the last. But it's a relation or reference. Yeah, but it's a relation or reference. I don't understand, Adrian, if you want to expound. So then this is the last. Ignore all nested for items. Nested for items for the last valid elements. Yep. Oh, man. Yeah. It just stresses me out. But it is the fix, and I get it on like a broad level. But man, this is going to make it so much freaking harder for me to work on because I didn't write it and I don't understand it completely. So here's what we're going to do. In the chat, let's see how many people are still on and paying attention. 25. Wow, everybody for the most part. In the chat, tell me, here's my dilemma. My dilemma is I didn't write this and I don't fully understand it. So option A is punt on this, attempt rewrite yourself, which honestly I don't even know if I could. I would probably end up coming to the same thing. B, pull in and keep an eye on, I guess. Simotod is one of the most active contributors, so I don't fear that he's not going to be around to like help me out if I need help. But this is the fork in the road. Do you think that A, I should not pull this into the code because I don't fully own it mentally, even though I understand it on like a broad level? Or B, pull it in, get the thing fixed, move the project forward, accept the contribution? Vote now or forever hold your peace, please. I'm interested to know. So basically A is not pull in. B is pull in. And, all right, C, get Simon to write a PR, some explanation about choices. Okay, I think he's trying to exclude the nested X4s while going through the top level. B, yeah. Ryan, you're right, but like, I don't know what other explanation he could offer. Like, I understand what he did. Like, I see it. He's tracking depth, but yeah. All right, I could attempt to understand it better. I could attempt harder to understand it. We have more B's. I wouldn't accept it yet if I didn't understand it fully. Yeah, you're right. You are right. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're not going to pull it in right now. We're not going to pull it in right now because I don't want to do it just because I'm on a call and I want to move fast. But I feel way better about it. I know it fixes all the problems. I'd even like to test for a third layer and see if it works, recursively. Same, we should try to understand it. So I guess here's the question I'll leave to you. Should we try to understand it more fully on this call? It might be a lot of me like staring at code and whatnot. Or should we move on to something more concrete and me tackle it after? I feel confident now that I can, I feel a little bit better about it because I cracked it open and I took a good hard look at it. So I will do that after. But if you guys want to keep pushing on it, I'm happy to do that. I just don't want to bore the living daylights out of you by staring at this super deep. Okay, we got a yeah, let's understand it, and then we got to move on for now. So let's see if there's some tie breaking going on. Duncan, we are working on X4 right now. Right now, you can't nest an X4 loop. You can't do this. You can't do a template and then a template. And there's a pull request to fix it, but it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to understand. Keep going. All right. We have enough keep going. So maybe a good way to help understand it is also to do some refactorings as we go, because this, could be cleaner for sure. So the question is, all right. So depth gets set up top, and it gets set with extra vars, right? Which come through. Where do extra vars come through? They get. Yeah, like how is X4 added to extra vars? Right there. Okay. Ryan was writing the exact same thing. That could get boring real quick, but hey, that's what programming is about. Yeah. All right. Maybe we'll refactor as we go along to make things a little bit more exciting. Get the depth level for the current iteration. Yep. That makes sense. This makes sense. Get the depth level for the current iteration. Perfectly clear. Everybody gets it. Yep. All right. If attribute. Why do we do an if attribute? So that you can have an if on a template tag. That's what this is. It's like if there's an attribute and it's false, then set items to empty. That's my approach. This little thing here is template x4 and you have an xif on the template tag. The way for me, this is my little like easy way to get through this problem is evaluate xif here, see what the value is. If it's true, then do your thing. Yep. Which I'm interested why I did that. Well, whatever. Right. This is in the else. So if it's true, do your thing. And if there's no thing, do your thing. If it's false, then pretend the x4 is empty, which will effectively hide it. So this is an example of like, I needed to support xif, but I wanted to isolate this to one piece. So for me, this was the best thing to do, was why don't I actually set the items to empty, and now I don't have to touch the entire rest of the implementation. I can just do that up here. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's like, this is my approach that makes it a little bit easier to kind of isolate the change. So even looking at this right now, I wonder if there's a way to pull this out. Check out master and apply components.evaluate return expression and see if the first code example works. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. Yep, I like that, and it's not going to take long at all. So let's pause right where we are and do what Adrian said. So Adrian is saying that our first code example was this. This was our first code example, and it didn't work. And so we're thinking that there's two changes in this PR, one to make this work and the other to make direct nested templates work. Because, you know, it's possible that if we just fix this, this is good enough. If you're like, hey, if you need nested for loops, then you just have to have a div, which honestly I might be fine with to avoid some of this as like an interim solution. You know? Yeah, you're right, Adrian. You're totally right. So let's do this. Let's, I wonder if maybe this is, sort of like forcing a single root element in view. Yeah, it would be like that. I feel like that's actually a really good solution, because then we don't have to worry about depth. But we're going to find out if it works. It should work, right? If you want nested fors, you have to wrap it in an element. Then we don't have to do any of this work, which I love. So let's try this. Let's and git checkout master. That's a really good suggestion, Adrian. Thank you. Now in examples, we're going to put back our example, and we're going to see it fail. And it fails. Foo is not defined. Now let's introduce Simotod's fix here. So right here he does this, I believe. Oh, interesting. Let's look at his. Yeah, so handle for directive passes in extra vars. So let's kind of just do that. I don't know if it's exactly the fix, but let's do this. We pass in extra vars. Okay. And then we pass through extra vars here. So we pull it in here. So extra vars. Pull it in here. And then we pass it in there, and that might be the only place that we do that. Yep. Okay. Let's see if it worked. Ha! Totally works. Oh, man. All right. So here it is. This is better for me. This is much better. I am happy to say, if you want to nest templates, you have to put an intermediate element. I'm happy to say that. This way, people might be like, oh, but this is so much purer. And I'll be like, man, I'm not dealing with that. I can't deal with that, That was easy. Yeah, it was. So that's really nice. Yep. That's nice. Yeah. All right. So let's push this even farther, and let's just make sure that 3 levels deep works. So we're gonna have it's gonna get kind of yucky, but bear with me. So bars is equal to Bob's tube. Okay, tube loop. And then this is Bob's tube loop. Bars is Bob's tube loop. And then I'm just going to change random stuff here. Okay. Okie doke. So now we have 3 levels. We have foo in foos, right? Foos. Foo dot bars, bar, and then bar dot bobs. Bob. Refresh. And tubes looped. I don't know, man. I'd say that works like a dog. And let's see what it looks like. Yeah, first you have the template tag, which puts this right here, which has a nested template, which puts, and that frickin' works. Yep. All right. Okay. Would be worth adding to the docs that it doesn't have to be a div 2, could be a span. Yeah, that's right, Ryan. I agree. All right, so this is the fix. Let's write a test and get this thing going. So inside for spec, this is going to be our test. And let's, so this is where he put in a bunch of effort for this, and I don't want to it's easier for me to just close it and do it myself, but I feel like that's not super great. But I also feel like if I'm totally going to change his pull request, he might not want that. He might be like, hey, what the heck, man? You just ripped out everything but this tiny little fix, So it's tough. I want to give him credit, but I also don't want to step all over him. So throw in the chat if you think I should use his existing pull request to change it all to what I want it to be and then merge it, or if I should leave it open, or if I should close it and then implement this on master myself. Yeah, definitely, Adrian, hands clapping to you. Same here. So I want to hear your opinion. I'm leaning towards the pull request because he's not going to use the pull request for anything else, I don't think. And all the code is still in the history. And this way I can steal his nested X4 test in good conscience and stuff like that. Fresh PR, explain and comment. Oh, he's here. Has he been here the whole time? Is it Simone? It's got to be Simone. If it's Simone, tell me that's how you pronounce your name, because I would love to know so I can stop saying Simotad. It's got to be Simone. Okay. Simone, thank you for this, and thank you for giving permission to close it. Also, thank you again and again and again for this. But I'm hoping you've been following along enough to know that of our current... Hi, guys. He says, nah. Nah, like I'm doing it wrong. It's an Italian name. Simone. All right, please, if you could spell it out in like plain English exactly how to pronounce it, I would love that. That would be great. Simoni. And I'm Italian, but I speak zero Italian. Simone. Awesome. Beautiful. It's a beautiful name. Simone. Okay, it is time to close his PR and just steal all his code because he's a nice guy and he's going to let me do that. So let's take this test. Doop-a-doop. And pop a Rooney in right here. Okay, now we have nested x4. Perfect. Items, tags. So I'm going to change this to foos and bars because items and tags, it's a little bit tough to track. Foos, bars, bob, lob. And then on click. So he's going to change it and check for reactivity. Makes sense. Bars. Okay, and this is going to be bars. So he's changing these. So right now they're bob and lob. And he's going to change it. He's going to add a new one and we're going to make it law. If anybody's curious, my normal foo bar order is foo, bar, baz, bob, lob, law. And if I need blog, that's what I do. Bob, laws, law, blog. It's an inside joke. All right, so template x4. This is going to be foo in foos. This is going to be foo.bars. This is going to be bar. And that's what we're doing. We're going to wrap this in a div. And this is going to make it work. So let's see. Span should be equal to 2. Yep. But div should be, let's say h1 and h2. I use these so that it's easy to grab out of the DOM. So it'd be like h1, h2. Okay. And all spans are going to become h2s. Okay. So we make sure that both of these things exist. Okay, to equal 2, right? Then we get all the h2s. We get the first h2, we get the second h2. We make sure it's foo and bar, which makes sense. Or it's going to be bob and lob, right? So foo is going to be bob, bar, oh boy. Scroll down. Foo is going to be bar, bob and lob. Click the button. It's going to be bob, lob, law. Okay. And now we test. Jest for nested. -T is how you filter down jest tests. It'd be pretty sweet if it passed on the first try. But I bet I messed something up. 'Cause that's just how it goes. Simone. I gotta remember that. Foos row bar. Foos. Oh, did I mess something up? And Chris is telling me what I messed up. Or he's saying something else. Foos to bar. Foo in foos. Foo.bars is bar. Foos equal. Yeah. Am I missing something? All right, we'll look at the thing. We'll look at the error. It's probably a good first step. No, just a Fuss Roda Skyrim joke. Okay. All right, expected 2, received 1, line 308. Expected 2, H1s, but received 1, right? This should be 1, because we only have 1 item in here. So let's run that again. And see how we diddle. Great, we have passing. So 4 works. Let's do one big jest test. We'll put this in a separate branch. We'll make a PR. We'll look at the diff. We'll pull it in, and we'll call it a day because it's lunchtime. for me. Okay, all the tests are passing. Fantastic. Come on. All right, tests are passing. We'll make a separate branch. We'll kill the build. Get checkout -b. This is going to be support nested for loops. Okay, and then npm run build. Found a way to remove window shadows on most windows. It's not great and doesn't seem to work on apps that have customized the window menu items. MacForge WinBuddy. Been there, man. You are preaching to the choir. Have MacForge, have WinBuddy. Messes stuff up like crazy. Like I think I have. Well, I had WinBuddy. If you get it to work really nicely, let me know. But I don't know. MacForge is pretty wild. So, all right. So we have both builds built. So we'll say fix nested x4 loop scoping. We're not going to want to commit all this stuff, but you know what? It's actually worth adding to. So we're going to take this bit here and so here's x4. We're going to add a row on here called, this is x4. This is going to be nested x4. And then inside here, we're going to paste all that stuff. Okay. Now let's load our example page. And x4 and nested x4. This is... okay. One. Yeah, whatever. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. I'm sorry you had to watch me type 1 through 8. But now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is important because this is the only way I really can easily test everything quickly in, well, one, it's a way that I can test stuff in real life. Like the Jest tests are pretty damn good. But when I want to know like, hey, does all this stuff work still? Like I test it here. But now I've been trying to test in IE 11 before tagging a release. And I can't run the Jest tests under IE 11, so this is a page I can load in an IE 11 browser and use as a test. So we have that there, which is good. I like this. So let's do this. We're gonna update the docs, but let's push this. So legit publish, and that'll publish this branch for me. So while we're waiting for that, I'm gonna close this one. Thanks so much for the implementation. Instead of supporting directly nesting template tags, we are just going to force a wrapping element around each template. This will be working and available in the next release. And also we will make the pull request so that we can link to it in this pull request once we close it. So here's the pull request, support nested for loops. We'll say, oops, this is now possible. And then let's copy, maybe we'll clean this up really quick in here because it's easier to edit than in GitHub's editor. Well, all right, whatever. We're going to copy the whole chunk. Sorry, everybody's eyeballs, but Well, and that actually is really yucky. So undo that, get rid of all this white space, copy this, paste it. Okay. And now this is the example. This is now possible. And then while we're at it, we will output, we'll show what it looks like. So now we'll say this outputs, and then we'll add that image. Perfect. Okay, so we'll create the pull request, see what the chat, how we're doing. I can count from 1 to 8 now. Yes, you are welcome. Okay, so files changed. We added this, well, we're not gonna really care about the build output, but here's example. Yep, we added this to component. Yep, we pulled in extra vars and we passed extra vars in. That's the entire fix. Here's the test. Very simple, very clean. Thank you everybody, especially Adrian. Thank you Simone, right? Thank you Simone. Thank you Adrian. Thank you Ryan. Thank you everybody who pitched in on this. Go install Linux, says Adrian. No. So we have a successful run, now 2 successful runs, and we'll reference this in the other PR. So, oops, here's the new PR for the fix. Okay, now close and comment. Okay, now merge pull request. Great. We're merging the pull request, and now a couple last steps. We are going to close the issue and say thanks everyone. This issue will be fixed in the next release. Here is the PR. Directly nesting, whatever. Here is the PR. See for details. I feel like we need to mention that you can't directly nest. Like people might get the wrong idea. Well, let's say, note, you can't directly nest. Note, for now, we are not supporting directly nesting template tags, but we will support nesting template tags with wrapping elements like so. And then we'll just paste this everywhere so people can see. Okay. So, close the issue. We're almost there. We need to do the README, and I feel like it's good posture to check this in IE11 so that we don't run into this. It's going to work. I know it is going to work. I feel like I don't even need to test it in IE11, so I'm not even going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's going to work because it doesn't impact. I'm literally just passing an extra parameter. And it costs me money to test an IE11, so I'm just going to save that. Okay. So we're closing this. The last thing to do is add the README and tag the release. I say we just tag a release for it because it is a good fix. So let's back out of this here and go to master. Okay. Pull down the new stuff. We're looking good. Oh, crap. We lost all our roadmap stuff. I'll get that back. I'll add it back after the call so you guys don't have to watch me do that. That's all right. I remember exactly what we decided on. But wow, am I a dummy? Well, I guess I could just go back to Simone's, what was it? So Is there feature? I think that's the one. I guess not. Oh, did we put it in the init thing? Yeah, I think we did. Where is init? Fix IE11 support nested loops. Well, whatever. I'll have to rewrite the roadmap. And then let's add some documentation to this. This is going to be under X4. So X4. And okay. You can also, if you wish to X4 supports nesting. How do I put this? You can nest X4 loops, but you must wrap each loop in an element. For example. And then here's where we will demo it and push the docs. Just rewind this video after stream to restore it. That's a really good call, actually. Nothing is gone now. So, template, X4. So item in items. And then, yeah, we don't even have to show the data necessarily. So let's do this. Maybe we should take the initial thing here. Yep, this is better. Okay, we're going to do this. Item in items. We'll wrap this in a div. And this will be item. Okay. This is going to be item in. We're going to make this sub item in item dot sub items. We're going to get rid of the key for now because it's adding bloat. And this is going to be sub item. Okay. All right, I think that's good. Like maybe we should add nest, like yep, I think that's good. And now update readme. Push this. We're almost there. Adrian with the bright ideas today. We're almost at the finish line. We're going to get this thing pushed out and tagged, and you can see the whole process of how I usually go about that. So I know this is the only thing added, but normally what I do is I open up the latest tag. I do a pull request against master. I switch the base, and now I have a list of all the changes, and I can see all the code changes. So I can go through and kind of like double check and make sure that everything is all good. Yeah, so I know it's all good and I know what to reference. And then if I need pull request references, I click on the commit, and then, well, this one doesn't show a pull request because, so I click on the commit and then the pull request shows up here, number 316. So I'll copy that, and then that's kind of how I reference as I create these release notes. So here's the release. So I draft a new release. This is going to be a .3. Paste this down here. Okay, .3. And then this is where I'd say fixed. You can now nest X4 loops as long as they are wrapped in elements. Okay, and then I'll also put a little note here that I'm going to steal. Basically just going to steal this. I end up doing this a lot, is like, because I want you to be able to see what's new, like everywhere, you know, the readme, the change log, the pull request. It's a lot of repetition, but whatever. It's kind of nice to just see at a glance. So what are people saying here? Today, no temp, please. Yeah, no temp. Like on Livewire stream. What did I do on the Livewire stream? Publish the release. Yeah. Yes, that was really stupid. So let's make sure this is good. This looks good. We have one fix here. And we published the release. And this doesn't actually mean anything right now. Actually, I should have bumped the version before I did that, but whatever. So the version is now 2.2.3. And I'll do a bump version commit. Now I git push and npm publish. And that's it. I'll git push at the end just for fun, but that's how it works. Yeah, it would be nice to automate that. Can you send the Livewire stream link? Sorry, there's no stream link, Paul. I did it on Zoom, so it wasn't recorded or anything. But it'll be on YouTube from now on, so. All right, so there we go. Good stuff. So this is it. We got it tagged. We got it released. You can now X4. And while we're here, why don't we tweet about this? So we'll take a little screenshot of Rooney. Actually, I get a better resolution when I use this screenshot thing that I've been using. It actually ships with Macs, so this gives you a better resolution than the normal screenshot shortcut. Let's give this some space, like there. Okay, and that looks good. So yeah, capture it. And let's tweet it out. Should I do it on the Alpine Twitter or the Caleb Porzio Twitter? I'll do it on the Caleb Porzio Twitter. And here is where I'll say, you're going to watch me tweet. We're just doing it. I'll do a video recording emoji. See, this is like, you're probably like, why is he doing this on the stream? But like, why not? First ever AlpineJS. First ever is a little bit extreme. It's a little bit grandiose. First AlpineJS live stream was a great success. We fixed X4 nesting. We planned some big additions and fixed X4 nesting. Release tagged, documented. It said, thanks so much, everyone. We'll do again soon. And then just paste in your raw HTML like you do. No, we're going to get that screenshot. Should be on the desktop. Here's a screenshot. Drag it in. First Alpine live stream was a great success. We planned on some big additions and fixed X4. We planned some big new features and fixed X4 nesting. Release tagged. V2.2.3. Documented, etc. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll do again soon. Perfect. So there we go. Tweet it. And how are we doing? All right. So we're done. Thanks so much, everybody, for everything. It's so nice to have people pairing with you on stuff. It helps with the workload. We're getting there. There's a backlog on Alpine. Livewire is squeaky clean. All the pull requests are closed or merged. Alpine still has stuff that, we need to work through. And this is the way to do it together. So I'm going to try to do this more often. In case you think that I'm like inactive on Alpine, I work on Alpine a lot and I think about it a lot, and I have no plans of slowing down. But like right now I'm working on Livewire Surge and a couple other projects, but I will be totally same again tomorrow, Ryan. Dude, honestly, I probably could do this every day, but I don't know. I'm definitely going to do it more often. So I guess subscribe. This is weird, I'm saying this. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want notifications about when I go live, because this is where I'm going to do it. I'm just going to stick to YouTube for now. Yeah, I'll be streaming Livewire too. I'll probably alternate. But yes, that's very true. To everybody listening, I also want to just formally shout them out. Ryan, Simone, and Hugo. I'm trying to think if there's other people, but those are the main 3 people in the repo. Like, they're super duper active, and I want to thank both of you, all 3 of you right now, for all your help on the repo. It's been super helpful to have basically 3 people who are just all about, like, they're just on top of it. You know, you can see any one of their names at any time. Ryan, Hugo, I'm sure Simone's in here too. Exactly. They're constantly, you know, talking about issues and stuff. So anyway, I appreciate it. Stream on this account or the other. This is the only account, I think. Is there another account? Is there a Caleb Porzio account? I used to have a Caleb Porzio, like a non-Caleb Porzio 1 account. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. For now, we're just going to do the exact same thing we just did. It'll be on this account. I'll tweet it out. You'll get a notification if you subscribe to me. So there you go. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I'm going to end the stream now. Much love. Peace out.